What's up, guys? Good morning. You guys all doing good? Yeah? Awesome, man. I know most of you guys went and watched football last night, probably. So thanks so much for being here at like 8:30. Well, it's 8:45, but still thanks a lot for taking the time to be here. 10 years, man. Hack in the box. 10 years in the Netherlands. Definitely when I started this way back in 2002, 2003, I certainly didn't envision that I would be standing here now, 10 years after in the Netherlands, presenting this keynote to you guys. And so this keynote is actually kind of a filler, actually, because the original keynote speaker couldn't make it. And then I invited Rob Honkripe, whom I'm sure most of you guys know. And he said, I don't like speaking anymore, bro. I'm retired. Why don't you do it? So I'm like, okay, I guess I will present the keynote then. And I asked the guys, and they said, yeah, okay, fine, man. You present it. Like, come up with something cool, tell some stories, it'll be fun. You only have half an hour, so like, don't waste so much time. So I'm going to try and make this fast. It's going to be kind of a story time with Dylan, more or less like a look back over what we've been doing over the last 10 years and a little bit of what we're going to be doing in the future. One sec. There we go. So, a bit of history. Some of you guys, maybe you've been to Hack in the Box before. Some of you guys, maybe it's your first time here. We started in Malaysia 2002, 2003. That was actually where Hack in the Box was first from, right? So, back in the day when we first started it, the main aim of why we wanted to create this Hack in the Box security conference thing was because it was super, super expensive to go to Black Hat or DEF CON. Mainly all of the cool conferences were happening in North America. We were living in Malaysia, way over there, and there wasn't really anything cool. So we said, hey, we should start our own conference, man. Like it'll be fun. It should be easy, right? It was a lot more work than we thought. But our main aim was to try and bring kind of like a high quality event without like super high costs. A conference that's run by us, for us. So our field, what we want to do, what we are interested in, what cool technology, what cool talks like, that we want to see, what awesome speakers that we want to invite. And it should be kind of like a showcase area for all things hacker, and we should try and keep it as affordable as we could possibly make it. And let it be open to everybody. Let as many people as possible come and learn, have that true hacker spirit of learning, of sharing, and like back in the good old days of the community. And so, while we take what we produce very seriously, as in when we do our conferences, we give it blood, sweat, and tears, we also know how to have a good time, basically. And sometimes people will say maybe we don't really take ourselves that seriously. In fact, I would say some people might even say Hack in the Box actually organizes parties. And then the conferences are a byproduct of that organization that we do. And we've been pretty much everywhere, right? All around the world. We've been to Bahrain, we were in Dubai, we've obviously from Malaysia, we've been in the Netherlands. But one thing though is that the community that runs Hack in the Box, that's behind Hack in the Box, are run by people who literally love what they do. They breathe it, they're so passionate about it, and they believe in what we're trying to do, which is to create a community, a space where everybody feels safe, feels welcome, and you can talk about cool stuff, man, and it's about sharing. So, common question, right, is how exactly did Hack in the Box come to the Netherlands? Because everybody kind of says, like, the heck is the connection, dude? You guys are from Malaysia. How did you end up here? And so some say, oh, must be, we heard this story, Dylan has Dutch relatives. It's a true story, I do have Dutch relatives, and I've been coming here for many, many years. And then some other guys say, oh, it must be because, it's Amsterdam, right? Sights and sounds of Amsterdam, which is also true. I mean, who doesn't want to come to Amsterdam, right? You tell them conference in Amsterdam, everybody wants to go. But here's the actual true story behind like how Hack in the Box Netherlands came to be. So, for most of you, you might know these three characters. Basically, that's Biacho, Daryl, that's Amy, and Belinda. And these three guys essentially kind of started Hack in the Box with me. I came out with this crazy idea of like, let's do this conference, and they were like kind of the backbone, and the guys that made it possible for me to kind of come up with the crazy ideas, they're the ones who were like, all right, let's try and make it so. And obviously we have a community of volunteers that are behind us, and we were fine. We went around. We were in Bahrain for a couple of years, and then in Dubai, everything was going okay. I mean, Hack in the Box was growing. We had a Malaysian community. We were doing kind of cool stuff, and in 2009, I believe 2009, there was this dude that came over to our conference in Malaysia called Barry Van Kempen. And so this guy, Barry, he came and then he met up with us and he said, "Hey man, this conference thing is freaking expensive and it's awesome, man. I love it. I love this feel, man. Like, how do we bring this over to the Netherlands?" I'm like, "Well, we can, I suppose. I mean, but we need a community, right? We need guys who are going to be passionate to help us do it. We can't just be flying all the time over here." And he said, "No worries, bro. I got it. We've got a hackerspace. It's called Random Data, and we've got this community of guys from 2600 Netherlands, and we will do it together. We'll make this community feel like we'll bring Hack in the Box over, and it'll be awesome." Coincidentally, that particular year was also when Rob Honkripe, Rob that I just mentioned earlier, was keynoting for us in Malaysia. And so, for those of you who don't know, Rob was like the founder of Hacktake, founder of Access for All. He's the guy who hacked the voting machines. He's also one of the main guys who was kind of involved with the CCC hacker camp scene. So if you've never been for like this summer camp that CCC does, you should. It happens once every 4 years. It's fantastic. It's like sometimes in Germany, sometimes it's here. And so basically Rob had this idea of like, well, we only do our hacker camps every 4 years. We don't really have security conference like on a yearly basis, not a community-driven conference. There are commercial conferences, obviously. So we said, all right, let's maybe try and do this thing. So Barry, together with, at that time, his boss at that time was this guy called Francisco. And so Barry, Francisco, his company ITQ, Rob, together with some of the guys from CCC, helped to bring Hack in the Box over, as in like they gave us the support and the motivation to continue to do it. And that's pretty much the history of how Hack in the Box Netherlands was born, basically, right? Like, it was this story that happened way back in 2009, and it was Barry who was, I don't know if Barry's in the audience even, I hope he is. Yeah, Barry, man, yeah. So it was Barry who pretty much kind of like started it all, right? It's Barry, it's Junk, the orange hat guy at registration, it's Yuri, it's this bunch of guys that kind of like were the original nexus for Hack in the Box, and I'm glad that they're still here today and they're still standing here. To be here with us today. But obviously, since 2009, when we had a small group of dudes, we've grown quite a fair bit. I mean, I don't know what the number is now, but it's quite large, basically. I think when people ask us how many crew there are in Netherlands, I think it's 60, maybe 70, something like that. So, what I want to do now, though, is to introduce you guys to the crew that have been involved in the run-up to the event. So putting on a conference like this is not something you do in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 or 6 or 8. It takes months and months of work. In general, it takes about 6 months. And so we normally put together what we call like a core crew, or like, they're all volunteers, right? Nobody works for Hack in the Box, right? But we put together like a pre-event crew. And these guys have like lived, died, breathed Hack in the Box, live, die, repeat, like continuously. Everything to do with this conference for the 10th anniversary conference for the last 6 months. So, first up we have Cherry, who is our new team lead and volunteer coordinator. She's been responsible for making sure that all of the people who say, "Hey, I want to help out," have actually something to do and they don't just come here and like twiddle their thumbs. We also have, obviously, Mr. Yuri van der Swart. Yuri has been with Hack in the Box for quite some time also. He's responsible for all things Hackspo. So if you go outside later and you go into the exhibition area, you see all the build-up and all that awesome stuff. That's all Yuri. Helping him this year has been Steph from KPN's Red Team. And Steph has been helping us with all the villages and communities. So for this year's 10th anniversary, we decided to invite villagers over. So normally we just kind of like we have the usual suspects that will show up. But this year we said, hey, let's try and have a call for villagers and a call for communities, and Steph was the main guy who was responsible for coordinating all of that. Obviously, I'll capture the flag, which is like super famous competition. It's run this year by this guy called Doskop Ingmarstein. He, together with the rest of the Dutch NL crew, CTF crew, have been doing the CTF, I think, right now for at least 5 years, solid. And so this year, CTF Master of Masters will be Doskop. And of course, the Dutch crew is supported by our Malaysian team all the way back in Kuala Lumpur. And we have our master booking and logistics sifu, Mr. Weng. We also have Mr. Liang, who did all of this AV stuff, so all of these screens, all of the lights and things. He's the guy who helps coordinate that. And then last but not least, our secret weapon is Mr. Max. And so Max, in case you don't know, most of the time when you go to our website and you click on the little talk to us live chat thing, you're normally talking to me most of the time. However, Max has been really kind enough to kind of step up and say, hey, I'll help you out. I know you're like super busy and stuff. So he's been doing a lot of the customer support. He's also been taking care of all the website stuff. So, like kudos to him because there's so much new content for this year's conference that, he helped to keep it all together. But of course, this bunch of guys can't do a super huge conference on their own. And so we have what we call our extended crew, right? Volunteers that have grown from 10 guys to 40 guys to 70 guys. And in this year, we actually have more than 90 volunteers from around the world who have come to make Hack in the Box awesome. Thanks. We actually even have 13 students from Dakota State University that have come, literally just to pull cables. So, big up to these guys for believing in this idea that we have for Hack in the Box and for, everybody could do other stuff, right? I'm sure that we rather be outside cycling their bicycle. It's quite a nice day, but yet they're here, helping us out. And it's really kind of like this constant changing, constantly evolving pool of people that come together every year or for every event. They bring new ideas, they have new energy, new concepts, new enthusiasm. And that's, I think, really what makes Hack in the Box, right? It's that evolution of stuff. So 2018 was freaking fantastic, man. It was, for us anyway, it was a really, really interesting year. We did quite a lot of stuff. In fact, we did 4 conferences, which is a little bit crazy. So as always, we had our Amsterdam conference last year. It was a big event. I think we had quite a lot of speakers. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a lot. And it was a pretty big event as well. I think we had like 1,500 people. Of course, we did our Singapore conference, GSAC, where we let the audience choose the talks, and we networked the speakers together with the audience, with you guys. You guys get to network with each other. And then we did something new, and we decided to go to China. Why not, right? Because Beijing, China, lots of cool hackers there. And the main reason why we thought we should go to China was simple. It's very simple. If you look over the last couple of years, there's been a kind of a skew in the research, where research comes from. Like, it used to be mainly North American speakers, European speakers, Israeli speakers. But then over the last maybe 3-4 years or so, there's been a very big uptick in the amount of Chinese researchers that come. In fact, this year's Hack in the Box, last year's Hack in the Box, if you look at the agenda, you'll see there's lots of Chinese research papers. So we thought, hey, it's not always fair to ask the researchers to come out. We should actually go there and do something for the community there. So we did. We went to Beijing, we did a conference there. And it was quite insane because, number one, the sheer number of people that showed up was large. Normally when we do a conference, even here, it's like 1,000 something people. And we've been here for a while, right? For a first-time conference in Beijing, we hit like almost 2,000 people, like 1,500 people, which for us is quite a large number. But what was most mind-blowing was that we normally do a live stream. So the Hackspo track or the ComSec track, it's streamed live on our YouTube channel. And we get, I don't know, maybe 2,000, 2,500 concurrent viewers at any time. And we're like, hey man, 2,000 people watching the stream, man, cool stuff. We did it in China. And we had 275,000 concurrent viewers viewing the stream, which is just a completely mind-blowing number to us, basically. So we did China. It was fun. And then the Dubai government kind of like called us up and said, hey, man, we saw you guys are doing some cool stuff. You haven't been back here for a long time. Why don't you come back and check it out? And so in typical Dylan fashion, it was like, yeah, man, seems seems okay. I mean, we can do 3 conferences. Why don't we do 4 conferences? Seems all right. All the guys at the back are like, dude, you crazy or what, man? Like, we got this new China thing. You want to go and do Dubai also? I mean, like, what the hell, man? I'm like, well, let's just try it. I mean, it seems interesting. They say, lots of good support there, and it'll be a good event. Let's go and check it out. And so we did. We went back to Dubai. We did a conference last year, at the end of last year. And so we were in Dubai previously, right? We were there 2007, 8, 9, 10. And things have changed. Things have changed quite a lot. I mean, we took an 8-year break, but the community there has evolved quite a lot. What the main thing that we actually saw was that there's a huge amount of the younger generation that actually showed up. We do this thing here as well, called Hack in the Class. It's a Dutch foundation, co-founded, Barry and myself co-founded it, that aims to teach kids the hacker mindset, like how to think like a hacker, how to problem solve things. And so we ran a Hack in the Class session in Dubai, and we had like 120 kids, actually, full session over like the 2 days. It was just full. And so these are 12 to 15-year-old kids, and it's really heartening to see them really get into it, really, like want to push themselves further. We have our EDU CTF as usual, and then we had like 20 over teams compete. There was even one particular team, I think they're from New York University, Abu Dhabi. I can't really remember the team's name. But those guys haven't played CTF ever before in their life. I mean, they're students, and they're computer science students. They know some things, but they've never competed before as a team, collaboratively, and worked on a problem together. And they came and played, and they did really well. I think they came in second or they came in third. There were also like a lot of women, which to me was surprising, because normally we think, there's a shortage of women in IT and women in security, right? There's a common problem that we always say in Europe, in US, like everybody's talking about diversity. Yet in the UAE, this doesn't seem to be a problem. There's like a huge amount of women engineers that actually came for the event. And a lot of them were students, basically, and from masters, postgrad, undergrad, high school students. Most of them, almost all of them, super hungry and super excited to learn. Like we had villages like how we had here. We have soldering, and we had like, car hacking and stuff. And it was packed. It was literally packed. There were people, like 2, 3 people, queued up to learn. And it was very nice to see. Super refreshing. But, at the end of every year, at the end of every conference, we almost always get asked like a standard same question by people, which is, hey, what cool stuff are you going to do next year, man? This year was so great, but like next year, what's the plan? What's the plan, man? And so while we've been doing this for quite some time, there are a couple of things that we've noticed that seem to be changing or evolving. And I guess that's kind of to be expected, right? The first is that technology. Technology is going to constantly change, right? We're constantly going to be talking about building stuff, breaking it. I mean, that's what we do. That's what hacking is, right? Excuse me. But also, the people have changed as well. I mentioned just now how much, previously researchers used to come from Israel, from Europe, from America, and then now it's mainly from Asia. And you also see that the culture of hacking, right, has changed a lot. When we started Hack in the Box, there was like a handful of conferences. Right now, I got a note. I think Harun Mir did some study, 375 conferences in a year. It means more conferences than there are days. And there's a conference for everything, like whatever your specialization is, whatever it is that keeps you up at night, that drives you, there's probably a conference for it. Also, the way that we share information has also changed as well. I mean, there wasn't YouTube, right? Like, so now you consume content quite differently. You can share information differently as well. GitHub, all of that stuff. Also, generally, the culture of the industry has shifted drastically. When we first started it in 2003, Microsoft wasn't our sponsor. They've been our sponsor now for, a very, 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 very long time. But when we first started it, they were not our sponsor. They were not really our friends even. It used to be back 2003, 2004, if you drop some 0-day stuff, you get cease and desist, right? You don't get a bug bounty. Nobody's going to give you like a pat on the back. Nobody's going to give you Hall of Fame on the website. It was very different. Yet today, you have contests around the world where people specifically go just to drop research, drop 0-day, walk away with 500,000, 100,000, whatever, 1 million. I don't know. I think they gave away a Tesla recently at Pontoon. It's getting more and more. I mean, the numbers are insane, basically, right? And so that's a super, super different world than we lived in way back not that long ago. I mean, 2003, while it seems like a very long time ago, isn't really that long. And you think of cultural evolution, right? We as people. And so the long and short of it, though, is that even though all of these things have changed, technology, people, and culture, we're still here talking about the same thing, right? Stuff is broken. Stuff is not like as you expect it to be. Privacy issues, data at rest, all of this shit. It's all the same. It's all the same security problems that we have inherently been facing and been talking about. And so the reason I think that is because I think most of us can agree, right? Security is not a technology thing, right? It's not going to be solved by putting more firewalls or more whatever next fancy AI that you want to put on top of it. It's not going to be solved with technology, right? Because it's essentially a people problem, right? It's people doing stupid shit that results in issues. And so how do you actually solve people problems? I think through education, really. And right now, most of us will probably agree that there's a huge gap in what the education industry is providing and what we, as in the general companies and industry themselves, are expecting. So we as companies want the best, brightest, smartest, best guys that we can join our team immediately. Unis are producing stuff or graduates that you can't deploy immediately. You have to train them. You have to send them for whatever certification or in training, come to conferences, learn more stuff. And so why is that, right? It's mainly because we're using like a 200-year-old method of teaching the next generation, which is essentially read this stuff, memorize it, come to an exam, spit it back out, and I'll grade you on it. Yet today's kids, 2-3 years old, they have an iPad. They already know how to navigate UI, UX like of an iPad before they can even speak. When I was younger, not 2, 3, but maybe 7, 8 years old, I had books, big ass, heavy books, made of trees and stuff. You couldn't search. You had to actually read it, and you couldn't go to YouTube and just watch some videos and learn stuff, right? But right now, kids today, you can learn anything. I mean, we can essentially learn anything we want, right? But our school systems still have books, still have exams, still have this graded mentality of an old way of teaching. What we essentially need to do is not expect kids to learn the way we teach, right? But to kind of teach kids the way they learn. And so what do we need to do? Actually, we say we want to teach kids, the hacker way, right? It's not hard. It's essentially breaking a big problem into bite-sized pieces and keep at it. It's that grit, that tenacity. That's what makes us hackers. We don't give up. We don't say, 5 o'clock, time to go home. We don't. We stay up to 5 a.m. until we get what it is that we're searching for, right? It's that constant drive, constant push. And that's why we started Hacking the Class. That's why Barry and I said, hey man, if we're hoping to solve this problem, we need to go further back. I mean, it's no point talking to university students and high school kids. It's like, yeah, that's all fine and well, but their mindset and their way that they look at things are kind of already fairly ingrained. So you kind of got to go when they're much younger, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and make them kind of excited about technology. Not push them into learn this tool, you can become a hacker. That's bull, man. It's a way of thinking, right? It's not about the tool. I can teach anybody the tool, man. Like tools come, tools go. But it's a way of how you approach a problem, how you live your life. But how else do we learn? We as people just generally, right? It's most of the time it's trial and error, right? Kids learn by falling down, picking themselves up, touching something hot. Ooh, it's hot. I burned myself. I don't do it again. And that's why we think CTFs are so essential. Yet most companies and most of the industry isn't really using it for what it should be used for, which is a recruitment tool. It's like the fastest, easiest way to spot talent. And that's why most companies sponsor CTF. Actually, most companies are here sponsoring Hack in the Box for over the last couple of years. It's to spot talent. It's a global problem. We have this talent shortage, right? We're all looking for the best guys. Hard to find, expensive to train, even harder to evaluate. Right? Evaluation is difficult. Everybody keeps saying on their CV, I know this, I know this, I know that. But how do you test? How do you actually make sure they can deliver it, right? Fastest way is CTF. Also, they're a great way to build teams within your company as well. It teaches you how to work with each other, even though you might hate each other on a day-to-day. There are times you will need to work with each other. Departments need to talk to each other. And so we started EDU CTF for that same reason as well, to try and create a way for companies to earmark students that are performing well or that have a really good chance of succeeding, and making sure that they don't get lost in the system. And so when we had to start planning for this year, and the 10th year anniversary, and basically what do we want to do, right? We've been around for quite some time already, like Hack in the Box, right? What do we want to focus on? And I talked to the guys, and basically we said, if we want to literally do something and leave a legacy, because we're all getting old. I don't know if you noticed, got quite a lot of gray hair. And we want to fix this education situation, right? We should try and give it a go. So we said, fine, we're going to amp up all our activities for this year moving forward, basically, and focus on the next generation of hackers. So try and do stuff for the younger guys, right? And keep them motivated and keep them going forward. So for Amsterdam this year, we decided to pretty much ramp every single thing that we have up to the max, right? So Hacks of Future Past was the team that we came up with. And we were going to focus on next generation hacks and old school hacks and the future and what stuff is currently in our day-to-day. And so we've got pretty much 4 tracks of talks. I think we had 200 plus CFP submissions, 60 something speakers. CFP review board people are here, so you can ask them, hey, why didn't you select my talk? We also have 30 plus villages and competitions, the most I think that we've ever had. We also have a black hoodie, all women engineering track, so that's a new addition for us as well, which we think is cool, really cool addition. We also have a women-only CTF that's going to be running on day 2. Of course, we have our pro CTF with 27 teams from around Europe, and the winning team from here is actually going to go to UAE to compete in something really cool, which I'll tell you guys about shortly. We also expanded Hack in the Class. So we normally have our Hack in the Class stuff, but we invited Pete Herzog and the guys from Hacker High School. They're doing really, really good work in the US, and we invited them to come and expand on what we're doing. So we actually have now Hack in the Class plus Hacker High School. And then, of course, my personal favorite, my AI. I decided, I don't know why, but I thought it would be a really cool and fun thing to do a self-racing car challenge, forgetting that, I have a lot of other stuff to do as well. So we put it on the website. I came up with the idea, came up with the rules, assembled a team to do it, and then realized, man, I don't have time to actually play around with this. So, but we have it. There's an AI self-racing car challenge. You guys should go and check it out. It should be quite fun. And basically, there's just so much awesome. And over the next 2 days, use this opportunity to really learn, right? There's so much stuff. There's most of the talks. I looked at some of the talks in the agenda. I have no idea what the hell it's about, man. It's super, super technical. So that's pretty much what we're going to do for Amsterdam, right? That's why we're here today. But we, of course, have Singapore coming up in August. It's our surprisingly, this year, everything coincided because it's our 10th year here. It's actually our 5th year also in Singapore. As mentioned, GSAC has this audience-voted concept where you get to decide. So CFP is currently open. If you want to speak, submit your talk. And then we'll let the audience choose. So people who register for the conference get to vote on which talks they like. And then we kind of put everybody together. And it's an interesting mix. It incorporates kind of new ideas, new ways of sharing knowledge. And so there's Singapore in August. That should be quite fun. And then, of course, there's UAE. So, like everybody else, at the end of Dubai's conference, and after we wrapped up and everything was done, the guys from DSC were like, hey, okay, bro, what's next, man? What's the plan? What's going on? We have this thing called Expo 2020 that's going on in Dubai in 2020. So what we're going to do, that was going to be even bigger than this year and leading up into something that's even huger in 2020. I'm like, okay, seeing that I saw the amount of youth that came, and that there's so much passion and hunger and stuff to learn, right? I said, we should do something crazy, right? Typical Dylan, right? You want to don't do half, do 1,000. So I said, all right, let me think about it. Go to the guys, think about some crazy ideas, and we'll come back to you. And so we did. We came up with some nutter plans for them. And so they sat on it, they thought about it for a while, and they said, man, you are certifiably crazy, man. But we like it. We like it. So let's do it. So what we're going to do in UAE? Something pretty huge. We're going to call it HITB plus Cyber Week. What is it? It's a multi-party, week-long security event for both security professionals, all you guys here, all the tried and tested guys, but also something special and something unique for the next generation, for the younger guys. So you can think of it as like HITB on steroids, hence the plus. But it's also kind of like a multi-stakeholder thing. So it's HITB in collaboration with multiple parties. And we've got a crazy amount of things planned, basically. Over 6 days, we have 21 activities. I don't know how many talks we're going to have, but multiple. We're going to have a lot of trainings, a lot of free trainings, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days trainings. We'll have multiple workshops. There'll be labs, there'll be villages. Obviously, we're going to invite a lot of the villagers that you'll see here. Will be there. There'll be lots of challenges. But basically, it's so damn great, right, that we decided that we should make a video. Because, you know, that's what cool people do these days, right? They make videos and stuff. So we decided we'll make a video, which I shall show you guys. So, guys, that's Cyber Week, man. One second, let me get back to my slides. Cool. So, as I was saying, we have a lot of crazy stuff planned, man. Like, it's going to be so nuts. We have been staying up late for the last couple of days, just working on the last bits of pieces so that we can announce it to you guys here. First up, Cyber Battle of the Emirates. So this is literally EDU CTF spread out across a training program that's going to last over 5 weeks. It's mainly for the UAE universities. So we're going to go to the universities. We're going to go to almost every single emirate, do a training course for them, pick out the best guys, form teams, put them into an EDU CTF. We're flying in the winners from Belgium and Germany's cybersecurity challenge. They're actually here. I don't know if they're in the audience. I think those guys have probably had a late night. But they're on site. Those guys will be joining these teams from the UAE, the best of the best students, to compete. And then those guys will join a Pro CTF competition. Now, the Pro CTF, we are not opening it up to anybody to apply. It's kind of pre-selected. So we are selecting the winning teams from various competitions. So, for example, the winning team from here, DEFCON CTF last year, POC, Code Blue. We have a whole bunch of PH days. And these winners will be flown all the way over to Abu Dhabi. And they'll be playing for $100,000 cash prize. However, we have a subcategory. So it's kind of like an attack and defense CTF. And we have a bonus flag challenges for them. And we've built a visualization skin that sits on top. Why? Normally, when you go for CTF, if you're not playing the CTF, it's quite boring. As in, you watch it, it's like, yeah, you can see the scoreboard and stuff. You see teams are hacking things, whatever. Visually, when you look at what people are doing, it literally looks like they're checking email or they're checking into Facebook. Like, it doesn't really look that fun. So for this particular CTF, we're going to build a skin that sits on top of the attack and defense platform. It's actually built by RUCTF, the HackerDom guys who are also here, in collaboration with our Dutch guys. And so there'll be a visualization system that sits on top to kind of represent what the team's actions are and your server status and server health. But to make it more interesting for the audience who's watching, we are considering having a time-based concept. So each team will have a certain amount of time that they can spend on hacking the IoT devices that will be made available. You in the audience, for as long as you stay in the room watching the contest, you get some time that's given to you, which you can then donate to the teams that you support. So whichever team that you like, you're part of the competition as well. So you actually play a role in determining who might win, because you could donate all of your time to one particular team and then they have an unfair advantage, right? But at the end of the day, we are all bound by time. We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's the CTF. And then, of course, because I like AI, right, I said, hey, man, we should do some AI stuff, man, AI challenge. And so they said, okay, what kind of crazy AI stuff you want? So I said, okay, let's do 2 challenges. 50,000 for each category, one of which is to take Deep Exploit, which is an available framework that's already out there, and make it do something even better. And the other was to use the open malware AI gym to train like a new detector. And what would be a stretch goal would be that you can modify a PE file using machine learning, but it still works, and get it to bypass all of the current AV detectors. That would be some rock star stuff, man. So we have an AI challenge as well. It's actually going to be in 2 phases. First phase is for postgrads, undergrads. And if we don't get enough submissions because maybe it's too challenging, we'll open it up to everybody. So I'll probably just throw it up on a Kaggle contest or something. So anybody who's into machine learning AI, if you feel like this is something you want to do and you want to try your hand at it, you're more than welcome. We'll probably open that in maybe June, July. I'm super running out of time, so I'm trying to go fast. Last but not least, we have Driven Phone. So this is something new. It's a bug bounty contest. Nothing new about that. But it's also a bug bounty bazaar. So what the hell is that? Like, basically, we are inviting various stakeholders that already have their own bug bounty programs. So you know the usual suspects. I cannot name them because things are on embargo. But those companies that you know, we are inviting them to come and host their own bug bounty alongside us. So you as a bug hunter, you can go to like a one-stop place, choose whichever bounty program you like, and you do your thing. The main differentiator is that currently, right now, whereas most bounty programs is just between the vendor and the hunter, we as a community don't really get to know what the hell goes on. We don't really learn anything new other than the advisory that comes out. That's it. So what we're thinking of doing is actually pushing things much further and doing something out of the ordinary, which is coordinated disclosure with a twist. So what we want to do is we will follow the same tried and tested methodology. So you come, you present, we will validate, we will submit it to the vendor. They will get X number of days to patch, after which we'll issue the advisory. In the meantime, you guys got paid anyway. But once the patch is out, we'll give a certain window, 30, 60, 90 days for the patch to propagate so that people have a chance to actually get secure. And then we want to open source everything. We want to open source the exploit, we want to open source the actual advisory, like end to end. So why? Because basically we feel that it would push the entire research community forward if techniques were actually disclosed, right? So you can kill clusters of bugs one bounty at a time. Thanks to Samuel Shah for that line. And so what else? I mean, everybody's going to say like, okay, so what other cool stuff is going on at Cyber Week, right? Like, and that's a lot. I said that's 21, right? But because I'm out of time, you guys will have to wait for the log note, man. I'll cover that over there. In the meantime, though, enjoy the conference, guys. Check out all the amazing activities and all the awesome stuff that these guys have worked literally tirelessly on for the last couple of months. We've got a super amazing agenda. There's so many good talks. We've extended the hours, in fact. So this keynote at 8:30 is normally starts at 9. We normally end at 6:30. We now expanded the program. It ends at 7:30. We have a TCP/IP that ends at 8:30. So lots of stuff. Most importantly, though, remember to be open, right? Remember to share ideas. Remember that you're here to learn, right? That's why we're all here. And if you know something that somebody else doesn't, then teach them and teach them. Share what you know. Above all else, have fun. I love you guys. Enjoy the conference.